So, again, good morning. We start with our class, right? So, in the previous class, we were learning about leadership. What are the different types of leadership, right? So, we have seen leadership based on usage of authority, leadership based on managerial grit, the leadership based on continuum, right? So, in the leadership based on the usage of authority and the managerial grid, there is usually a clear-cut distinction between each type of leaders: authoritarian leader, democratic leader, then free reign leader. Another one, they were team leader style or the empowered style. There were different distinctions. Now coming to the third classification, third style of leadership, it is based on continuum. So what does this theory say for this side? This method says, it says the leadership is a continuum. Okay, it can be considered as a continuum ranging from boss centered leadership to subordinate centered leadership, right? So boss center based on authority, right? So based on authority. Finally coming to the subordinate center, it comes to the freedom, right? So there we can have distinctions like the first style is manager makes decision and announces it, right? The manager is the one who makes a decision. He'll just announce it. So it's similar to, or it's like the authoritarian style, right? The second style, it is manager sells his decision, right? What happens is here is the manager, he he would have made a decision, but now he has to make the subordinates understand that this is the decision and they had to abide by it. Okay, he need to encourage them to follow the style, right? The third style is manager presents ideas and invites question, right? So as you can see, when we are moving from the uh, left to right, the manager's authority is decreasing, right? It's using less and less authority, right? So here, what is manager says, this is our decision. Okay, now you can question. If you have any concern, you can raise the question. So manager will answer to that questions, right? The fourth style, it is manager presents tentative decision which is subject to change. So so we have tentatively decided. So you will get your timetables like that. Okay, you are tentatively, a timetable will be published. Later, it may be finalized. Okay, so if there is some changes are there that can be made. Similarly, manager will present a tentative decision and which will change, okay? Which can change or which can change by the from the inputs of the subordinates. So the style is manager presents problem, gets suggestion, and makes a decision. So this is more or less the democratic style. Manager is getting suggestions from the or ideas from the subordinates. So this is a democratic style, right? Then next thing, manager defines the limits, asks groups to make decision. Okay? So as I said, we need to complete this much. Okay, we need to produce a minimum of 500 and maximum of 1000. Now you can decide how we are going to do this. Okay, so you can make decisions accordingly and make a decision, right? Then the last step is manager permits subordinates to function within limits defined by the superior. Okay. In this again, certain limits will be there. Within that limit, the subordinates can work. More or less like the free reign. We'll give the policy, we will give that you have to work this much, or you have to work within this constraints, and you can work accordingly. So as you can see, this is varying slightly from one to other. So it is a continuum. So that is leadership as a continuum. Okay, and what does this theory says actually? It says the leadership style will depend upon the manager or the leader, subordinate, and the situation. Okay, situation forces has to be taken into consideration. Then the manager's attitude has to be taken into consideration. Also, subordinate's attitude also has to be taken into consideration. And this model was developed by Tannenbaum, right? Robert Tannenbaum and Warren H. Schlitt, right? Yeah. So what are the forces operating manager's personality? That is his value system, his confidence in the subordinates, his feeling of security, how secure he is. Then the forces and subordinates are willingness to assume responsibilities, his knowledge, then experience. That will affect manager's behavior. If the subordinate is a responsible person, manager will also behave accordingly. Right? If he's a lazy fellow, the manager may also change his attitude towards it, right? The situation. So what has been shown in the figure has been explained over here. And what is the final thing which we can take from this approach? The continuum approach offers a range of styles with no suggestion that one style is always right and another is always wrong. Okay, right? One is it's a range, so we can adopt any leadership style within that range, and it's not that one style is correct and one style is wrong. It will depend upon a manager, it will depend upon the subordinate, and it will depend upon the work situation. And based on that, we can adopt any style. Okay, so no style is correct or no style is wrong. One style which should be applicable, which would work for you, may not work for the other team. In your project group itself, your project group will have one style of working. Okay, that style of working may not work for second group. They will have their own style. Right? It will depend. Then we saw another form types of leadership, that is transactional and transformational. Right? So transactional means it is a traditional style of leadership. Okay, with traditional what we see, that is transactional leadership. So what happens in transactional leadership? Transactional leaders, they identify what subordinates has to do to achieve the objectives. So we know the objectives, we have planned for, we have planned, we have organized, we have staffed. We know what is the objective. So, and the manager will know what each person has to do so that the objective may be reached. Right? We need to produce 1,000 pens. What has to be done by each department so that we can produce 1,000 pens in a day. Right? So they know what is needed to achieve the objective. They clarify organization roles and tasks. Okay, so they will. It's not that they will know, but they will let the subordinates also know what has to be done. Okay, me knowing it's not enough. You should also know, right? My boss knows everything, but if I don't know, I may not be able to work more efficiently. Okay, my efficiency or my effectivity will be less. So the manager knows everything, and he should communicate it to me also. So he will clarify what my role is. Okay, what I have to do and what are my responsibilities. Okay, what are my tasks? Set up an organized structure. Okay? The manager will set up an organized structure also. If I have a doubt, okay, if I have a doubt, whom should I ask for? Okay, if I whom should I report to? Right? Whom should I oversee? So this structure will be also made by the manager. Okay? Right? In your group, you will have your project group is there. You will have your guide. Then guide will consult with the project coordinator. Project coordinator will consult with the staff coordinator. They will consult with the HOD. HOD will consult with the principal. Like that. So there's a hierarchy. Okay, there's a structure. So this is prepared by the manager or the leader of the institution. Right? Then reward performance and provide for social needs of the followers. Okay, whatever they are doing a good job, they should be rewarded. Okay, a praise will do. Okay, in appropriate condition, a praise will be maybe sometimes sufficient. Okay, or else whatever rewards can be given, that should be given. Okay, then provide for social needs. So we as a human, we are social beings, right? We cannot function alone for a long time. So the manager should understand what is the social needs of the person. He should not treat them like machines. So they are people. They have family, they have friends. They should have the leisure time. Okay? We cannot expect everyone to work 24/7, 365 days. Right? The manager should understand what is the social needs of his followers. So this is what a transaction leader does. Okay. So what does a transaction leader do? He identifies what the subordinates need to achieve the objective. First and foremost is objective. He is making sure that the objectives are met. Okay, so what is needed to be done so that we can achieve our objective? So the manager has a very well defined idea about that. Okay, he clarifies and explains. Basically, he explains organization roles and tasks, what each person has to do. He establishes the structure. Organization structure will be established by him. He will reward the performance. Okay, he will reward the performance and provide for the social needs of the followers. So see here, the manager said we said concern for production and concern for people. Here concern for production is there, concern for people is also there. Right? He's been rewarded, their roles everything has been well defined, and social needs are also met. So it is well defined. So we can say concern for production, concern for people is there, right? In this approach, right? So these leaders work very hard and try to run the organization effectively and efficiently. See, the manager has to know everything and everything, right? He has to know about the people, he has to know about the production, everything has to be understood by the manager. So that will take time and effort. So he is the one who is working very hard. Okay, when I am putting maybe 70%, the manager is putting 110%, right? Because he is putting 110%, I am putting 70%. So he is working very hard. He is a hard working fellow, and he tries to make the organization more effective and more efficient, right? What are the strengths? Strength is clearly defines roles and expectations. Okay, clearly defines roles and expectations. Then weaknesses, the creativity, because everything is well defined. Manager says you have to do this so that we can achieve the goal, right? So it has been well defined for me. I need to produce 100. So 100 is a well defined number for me. So I will think about only 100. Okay, there's no chance, or there's a very minute chance that I may think for something else. So there's creativity is limited. So I need to produce 100. So I will plan accordingly to produce 100. I will not go for more. Okay, not fit for places. That means innovative ideas. Again, everything is structured. Everything goes in a way. Okay, like now a teacher has left. I came in. I will leave. The other staff will come in. Okay, everything structured. So there is no creativity. No creativity. Okay, there is no innovation needed in this leadership style, right? So that is transactional leadership. So transactional, it is traditional. Okay, understand the words transactional, it is traditional. Next is transformational. Transformation means change, right? So transformation leadership in this approach, it's an that causes change in the people. So transformation, we have a change, right? So what do the transformation leader do? A transformation leader presents a vision. Okay, he says, okay, we have to reach here. Okay, maybe we need to reach 80% result. Okay, a dream. Okay, it's a vision. Then he will inspire and motivate his followers. Okay, so we can do this. You guys are now you are here. So within this, if you put little effort of more, so we can reach here. So he'll inspire them. He'll motivate the followers and create a climate favorable for organization change. So when I am inspired, I'll change, right? So if I feel okay, what this person is saying is right, it will benefit me. So if I am having that kind of a feeling, if I am motivated in that sense of a way, then I'll change. So basically, the manager is creating a favorable situation, okay, for organization change. It is designed to transform the organization quickly to respond to the rapid changes in the environment, right? So we know everything is changing very rapidly, so we need to change the way we do things, right? Sometimes yesterday, what happened yesterday when in the morning all the shops were open, right? In the evening session, it was announced that only certain shops can function from after this time, others has to be closed. So it is suddenly it's changing, and it's no one's fault, right? But we need to change, adapt accordingly, right? For that kind of situation, we cannot go for transactional leadership. Transaction means it's fixed. Okay, we need to change. We need to transform ourselves. So this kind of leadership is more effective over here, right? Then what are the strengths? It aims for finding a better way of doing something. Okay, so in that first case, transactional case, we do a thing and we are following the same way. Okay, so here we are trying to find a better way. 100, we are trying to produce 100 only. Here, what is a better way to produce 100? Okay, I aim is 100 itself, but what is a better way? Is what I am doing the best way? So I am thinking about it. Helps you change the system to accommodate the vision, okay, rather than working with the existing limitations in the system. Okay? So what happens is we are in the traditional style or transaction style, we will be used to. Okay? We may not know that this is a limitation. Okay? We are getting used to that. Like the movies for this. Okay, we are getting used to. The villagers got used to the frequent power outages. Okay, they feel okay when light comes, it's good. Okay, so people are getting used to. People are getting used to that limitation. So what happens here? Here in transformational style, we opt for change. Okay? We don't want to work within limitation. We need a better way, right? That is the strength. What are the weaknesses? Weaknesses is chance of conflicts between people to resist change, right? What has happened is usually okay, we will be our mindset is that it's very difficult to change people. Okay, we know a body will stay state of rest on uniform motion until and unless an external force acts upon it, right? Until an external force acts upon it, we stay, we'll follow our own path. So what we have to do, we will do this, right? When the result comes, the marks get you don't score the expected mark. Then only you start thinking, okay, if I go like this, I will suffer, right? The external force has to come. So changing people are very difficult, okay, and people will oppose to changes. Okay, they might say sometimes because here we are producing vision, and so people may not understand our concept. So there will be a lack of concept clarity over here. Okay, the concept may not be understood by all. Okay, so these people will oppose the change, right? They may resist the change. So that's a weakness of this approach, right? So traditional and or transactional and transformational. Transactional, it is traditional. Transformation means change. Okay. Now, if we compare between them, if the question comes a comparison between transaction and transformation, look at the marks and then write. Yeah, I have given only 3 important points. But if it is for 7 marks or 10 mark question, write more points from the about topic what we have learned, right? The transaction leadership uses rewards and punishment to initiate the followers, the traditional way. Okay, if you do this, you get a even in your maybe even today, if you score this much of good mark, your mobile will be upgraded, or you will get a new bike, or you will get a new dress. Parents, even the parents will bribe us, right? Or they will reward us. Okay, and if you fail to score the mark, your mobile will be confiscated. Okay? Your usage of mobile will be done, right? So it's based on punishments and rewards, and based on that, we will act. The second one is transformational leadership. Transformational leadership inspires and motivates the followers to achieve. So here we are inspiring. There's no rewards and punishments, but here inspiration and motivation does the job. Right? Then transaction leadership works for changing the present condition. Okay, and transformation means we are work for improving the present condition. Right? Then transaction leadership focuses on planning and execution because everything is set, and transformation leadership focuses on innovation. Okay, we are going for new, right? So the next topic of discussion is controlling. Okay, controlling. Controlling in the sense we know. Okay, manager functions. We have studied about planning. We have studied about organizing. We have studied about staffing, right? We have studied about the leading or the leadership, right? And the final one is controlling. Okay? So this is basically the end of our semester itself, end of our topic. With controlling, we will be finished with our module also, right? These are the last topics for which we had to discuss about. So we know we have studied what is controlling, right? So what is controlling? It is the process of setting standards, measuring actual performance, and taking corrective actions so that the organizational objective and the plans to attain them are accomplished, right? You remember when you did your experiments, maybe in your school or even in the colleges, you have done an experiment. So we found out gravity, right? In physics, there was an experiment finding out acceleration due to gravity, G. Yes, the pendulum and all used, right? So we will get a result. Now, how do we know what is right? Because there will be a standard value. Because we know acceleration due to gravity is 9.81, right? If we are getting that 9.81, our work is correct. If we are not, then our work is wrong, right? Or we have to find out the justification, because maybe due to the elevation of altitude at which we are working, it may change. But we know what is the standard value, what has to be obtained, and we are checking whether we are reaching there. So we got a value, we'll compare it to the standard value, and we'll see whether what we have got is right or wrong. Okay, that's a process of controlling. So we know what we did in the experiment is right or wrong, right? Similar way, what is controlling is the process of setting standards. Okay, so we need to first set the standard. So in a pen company, okay, our standard is daily production of 1,000 pens. Okay, we will be producing 1,000 pens of best quality. That will be our standard. Best quality in the sense the dimension will be same, the color would be same, the amount of ink will be same, everything will be same. Okay, process setting the standards that would be already predefined. 1,000 pens of that color, of that particular quality, and that particular ink in that particular amount. Okay, measuring actual performance. So we have set the standard. Now we have produced the pen. We'll see whether we have to produce 1,000 pens. Is the color uniform, right? Is the ink in the pen? So we have seen they'll write, they will use a machine, and the pen will repeatedly draw, and they check for how long it lasts, right? There will be measurement of actual performance and taking corrective actions. If our standards are not bent, okay, if we say we are producing 1,000 pens and we didn't produce 1,000 pens, so what is the reason for that? We'll identify that particular reason, then we'll take corrective actions. Okay, corrective action, so that the organization objectives, 1,000 pens of best quality, predefined quality, so that the organization objectives and the plans to attain them. Okay, 1,000 pens of best quality. Person A will do this, person B will do this, person C will do this, department X will do this, department Y will do this, department Z will do this, A will answer to B, B will answer to C. All this thing has been previously set. Everything has been planned account, everything has been organized, everything has been, people have been staffed, people are leading, so everything has been set, right? So are the plans which are set accomplished, right? So what is controlling? Controlling means process of setting standards, measuring actual performance, and taking corrective actions. So the three things are there. Standards are set, corrective actions are taken, performance are measured. What is our actual performance? It's measured, and corrective actions are taken so that our objectives and the plans to attain the objectives are fulfilled or accomplished, right? Now, what is the importance of controlling? So controlling, it is the basis of future actions, right? So we can know where we are lacking. So what we have to do. So future actions depend upon controlling, right? Maybe we need a new machine. Okay, maybe we need to review our plan, right? In the plan, we would have decided for going for a tour to outside Kerala. Okay, so, but due to some issues, we may not be able to go there. What we have to take corrective action. So our future actions will be based on the what we have to do, right? Facilitates decision making, right? Again, ensures standards, because we are setting the standard. We are actually measuring that whether the standard is met or not, right? And if it is not met, we are taking corrective measures so that the standards are met. So there's a standard in our product. Facilitates decentralization, right? Again, if there's a problem, a person will be attached. So decentralization means authorities mean distributed. Right? So this will help in that, right? Ensures effective and optimal utilization of resources. Okay? Because again, standards are there, measured, performance is measured. So we have effective and optimum. Optimum means it's not more, it's not less. What is needed for the production? The correct amount is used. Facilitates coordination, because again, standard is there, we can measure them and we can take the correct steps. So there's a coordination. We are not meeting the demand, or we are not meeting our standards. We have met our standards. That's also possible, right? So improving efficiency. So we have met our standards, so we can go for higher. Right? We are not able to meet our standards. So what can we do? Right? So this can be done. These are the importance of control. Right? The other thing is it improves quality. Standards are there, so the quality will be improved for sure. Respond to environmental changes, right? Because external environment will play a role in our decision. So maybe we cannot meet our standard. It may be because of external environment. Okay? Maybe the quality of the ink which we have produced, which we have purchased, may not be of the best quality. That can change. Okay? We can respond. And finally, we can gain competitive advantage. Competitive advantage we see in the first module, right? something better. Okay, something which no other companies can or competitors can strive for. Okay? We have seen the 4 factors and all. Okay? We can gain competitive advantage. Right? So that's about controlling. So controlling means we are setting out standards, measuring our actual performance, and finding out finding that what are the corrective measures to be taken if the standards are not met, or for getting to the objectives or plan, or plans being accomplished. So what is the basic control process? Okay, that's controlling. Now, how does this process work? What is the basic? Okay, basis of. So with the basic control process, wherever it is found and whatever is being controlled. Okay, so it may be in an automotive industry, it may be in a small scale industry, it may be in a college, it may be in a supermarket, any type of institution, okay, any type of company, right? So wherever it is or whatever it's being controlled will have the following steps. And what are they? The first one is obvious, right? We are seeing what are the steps. First one is establishing the standard. Okay, the first and foremost thing is we need to establish standards. So the control process begins with planning and establishing standards, right? We have planned for 1,000 pens. We know what is the quality of the pens. So we have planned and established the standards. The standards are the criteria of performance and should be clear, concrete, and measurable in nature. Okay, it should be very clear. It should be concrete, set in concrete. We said it doesn't change. Okay, it should be clear. It should be the concrete, and it is measurable in nature. 1,000 pens. Okay, 1,000 pens, 1,000 meters of writing. Okay, if you can draw a line for 1,000 meters, it should reach 1,000 meters. Pen should last for when I draw a line for 1,000 meters, right? So it should be clear, it should be concrete, and it should be measurable in nature. Standards are selected points in a plan at which the performance is measured, and this will give the manager an idea about how things are going. Okay. For example, we can say this in concreting. Okay, not related to you, but you would have seen this. Okay, when the concreting is done, what will happen is when the concrete is mixed, a portion will be taken for testing. You might have seen your friends doing concrete casting, right? They will produce a cubes, they will produce cylinders, right? All these things will be produced, and that would be sent out for testing. That will tell the site engineer that whether the concrete which we are using is of what we have hoped for, what we are designed for. Okay? So it will be standards are selected points in a plan at which performance is measured. Okay? It will be a point in a plan. So we have reached concreting. So starting of concreting, it's a point. Okay, at that point we'll check the quality of the concrete, and if the concrete is not being quality is not being met, then the manager can take appropriate action. Okay, it will give the manager an idea about how things are going, and thus he does not have to watch every step of the execution. So if he knows the concreting is correct, okay, even in the site inspection, what will happen is the engineer will come after the concrete, he'll dug up the area and see whether what has been done is right or not. You might have seen in the road construction. Okay, once the road has been constructed, the engineer will come, he will dig up a portion and see what is the depth of the bitumen, what is the depth of the other thing. Okay, subgrade, what is base, sub base, all these things. So the manager doesn't have to stay there for entire construction road. He'll come in at a point and see whether what they're doing is right or wrong. If it is wrong, they have to take the corrective measures. Right. So standards are selected points in a plan at which performance is measured, and this will give the manager an idea about how things are going, and thus he does not have to watch every step in the execution of plan. Okay. The first thing is setting out standard. Now, what is the next thing? Next is measuring of the performance. Performance measures are expressed both in terms of quantitative and it will be, so we have to tell in terms of quantity and quality. Okay, so certain things will be measured in quantity, certain things will be measured in quality. Okay, maybe for a painting you say, right, I can mass produce 1,000 paintings, but a masterpiece, okay, like the Picasso's, okay, they will produce like what, maybe 2 years, 3 years they'll get one painting. Okay? So that will depend the quality and the quantity. So whenever we are measuring the performance, we should take into consideration what is the quantity, what is the quality. What is the third thing? We need to find out the deviation, right? Whether we have met our standard. So that will be done by comparing the actual performance against the standards. We know we need to produce 1,000 pens. That's our standard, right? Now whether we have produced 1,000 pens or not, we need to compare the actual performances compared to the set standards. Deviation can be identified as the gap between actual performance and the planned targets. The actual performance can be more than, less than, or equal to the standard. Okay, so we have set a standard of 1,000 pens, and we'll measure how much of pens have we produced. So it can be more than 1,000, it can be equal to 1,000, it can be even less than 1,000. In any of the cases, we have to take the corrective actions. Okay, so we have produced more than 1,000, but if the quality is not met, we need to take the corrections. Right? We have not produced 1,000 pens. Again, we have to take the corrections. We have produced 1,000 qualities, 1,000 good quality of pen. We have reached our target. So can we go beyond that? That will be the next thing which we have to think for. So first thing is setting of standards, actual measurement of the performance, then comparison. Okay, so deviation can be identified. Now finally, what is the fourth thing? It will be correction. So correction for deviation. Based on the results, managers can know where exactly corrections must be applied. Okay, where did we lack? What is the reason? We didn't produce 1,000 pens. So what is the reason? Okay, sometimes what will happen? The raw materials didn't come in time. So what is that? If that is the case, we had to take corrective measures. Sometimes the power shortage. Power was out. That's why we wasn't able to produce 1,000 pens. That has to be corrected. Like that, what we have to look for, right? So the managers correct deviations by redrawing the plans or modifying the goals. We can redraw. Sometimes maybe 1,000 is not attainable. And that is the case, we have to redraw. The plan should be redrawn or goal should be modified. Everything has been done properly, even then we have not reached 1,000. So that means 1,000 is not attainable. Somewhere in our planning, we made a mistake. Okay. By reassignment of clarification of duties. Okay. Sometimes what will happen, the person may not be effective. Okay, so there we can reassign them, or we can even make them understand what they have to do. We can clarify their duties, and by additional staffing, or by training subordinates, or by firing them. Okay, if the person is the reason, so he or she can be trained, or if their number is insufficient, new person can be added, or even fired. Okay, they may be let go, and by undertaking better leadership techniques. Okay, by taking better leadership techniques. By taking better leadership techniques in the sense, we can change our approach. Okay, maybe we have been using a free rein technique, free rein style of leadership. So if you see that it is not effective, so we'll go for a democratic style. Okay, sometimes we have been following democratic style. This is not effective, so we'll go for authoritarian style. Like some we have to change, right? So controlling means basically setting out the standards, measuring the actual performance, understanding whether we have not met the standards or not, and taking the corrective actions so that the plans and the objectives are met, right? So we'll stop here for today. Continue class anymore. So if you have any doubt, please let me know.